Happy Monday, everyone. I'm Adam Zdroik. I'll be going over Nottingham Forest against Burnley. Game of the week. Game of the week. Showdown of the week at DraftKings. Let's get into it in just 1 second. What's up, everyone? Gonna be a quick look here at Monday's Showdown. Felt like I had to do one here. It's been a busy Monday morning with Champions League, feeding babies, a lot of good stuff going on here. But check it out, rotowire.com/soccer. We also have a couple bets here for this game as well, as you can see right on the homepage there, kits and wagers. And let's go in the cheat sheet here. We got Nottingham Forest, Burnley. This is later today on Monday. Got a lot of lineup questions. Nottingham Forest are a small favorite, I'll say. A small favorite. They're at home, so they're getting a little bit of a boost playing at City Ground. 32% clean sheet chance. Burnley has a 24% clean sheet chance. Fairly even, 2.55 implied goal total. As usual, rotowire.com/soccer trial to get this cheat sheet as well as Champions League. You're going to want Champions League cheat sheets. You're going to want Champions League everything. We're going to have articles up. Ryan Belangi wrote a DraftKings article. We're going to have that up. We're going to have a FanDuel article. We're going to have a show, which is shortly after this one. So Champions League content will be coming later today. So check that out as well. Maybe you win this contest, win the 10K in the Showdown of the week, and then throw all that money into Champions League, and then you lose it all. Something like that. Sounds like a good strategy. So let's get in the lineups here. Nottingham Forest are at home. They have Brennan Johnson's gone. The big thing with Steve Cooper is that he always lies about injuries. It happened multiple times last season where it was, okay, Morgan Gibbs White, he is out. He is not healthy. He's going to be back in 3 weeks. And then 2 days later, he was starting. So really take everything Steve Cooper says with a grain of salt a little bit here. So we don't know how Serge Aurier is. Actually, he went off early 2 weeks ago in Forest's last match. Anthony Elanga picked up some kind of muscle issue over the international break. We don't know how serious it is. We don't know any really extent of it. So maybe he won't start. Maybe Aurier won't start. We could see Nico Williams in there. We could see Gonzalo Montiel in there. Even in the midfield, maybe Ryan Yates or Mangala don't start. Maybe it's Nicolas Dominguez. Maybe it's Sangare. They added a bunch of players in the last transfer window. Callum Hudson-Odoi is an option. Who else? Divock Origi is an option, but I assume he's going to be a guy who subs in for Wanyee. So there's some new faces, and as you see here, the rumor is in camp Vlachodimos is actually going to be the number one for Nottingham Forest over Matt Turner. We'll see. Sucks for Matt Turner, I guess. That will be an ongoing thing, an ongoing discussion because, Matt Turner went to Nottingham Forest to get minutes and they added Vlachodimos. We'll see. Maybe Turner is in there again, but he did go away for the international break. I don't think Vlachodimos played anywhere, but I could be wrong. Burnley, also another team with some lineup questions. We'll see what Company wants to do. Again, this is a very young team, and Brownhill has not started a league game yet this season, but came on for 45 minutes in their last game against Tottenham. I do think Aaron Ramsey is an option to start here. He's back from whatever injury he had, so he could be in there instead of Brownhill. We could get a 4-4-2, where Ramsey is maybe on one of the wings with Koleosho, and then Foster and Downey are forwards in like a 4-4-2. Not massive differences. Maybe even Brownhill starts over Sanderberg in a more of a defensive midfielder role next to Cullen, kind of a thing. And then Ramsey is somewhere else. So some things to keep an eye on. Again, these are just not things that we can project. It's been 2 weeks, been over the international break. So Cooper and Company have probably, maybe changed some things. Maybe not Cooper, but Company, I'd say probably changed some things over the break, given some pretty bad results. So the question going in this one is, how much are we putting into Nottingham Forest at home? A lot of their wins, a lot of their points last season came in home matches. Just before the break, they won at Chelsea 1-0. and Steve Cooper always talks up City Ground, always talks up playing at home. And I bet on Forest pretty frequently at home. But a couple weeks ago in cup play, Nottingham Forest played at home against Burnley, and I think that match is kind of a good dive off point, a good point here where we can start to look at what's going to happen in this match. So it was kind of what you'd expect, maybe on a neutral field. Burnley had majority of possession, they had more shots, they had more opportunities. They ended up getting a very late goal and won that 1-0. I think it's kind of going to be the same way because that's how Burnley wants to play. That's how Burnley wants to play against weaker competition. That's what they did last season in the championship. You can consider Nottingham Forest is weaker competition. So I think it's kind of going to be in that same aspect. And I don't, okay, sure. I guess Nottingham Forest are favorite at home. We can say that. But I mean, you look at some of these Burnley results and how much do we want to put into, matches against Manchester City, Aston Villa, Tottenham? Pretty tough spots, tough spots. And now it's Nottingham Forest. So I think that the way that company wants to play, they're going to have more possession. I'll probably bet on Burnley corners here as well. It doesn't mean goals. Doesn't mean goals. It still means, Nottingham Forest will get opportunities off the counter, and Morgan Gibbs White and Iwoni will be getting opportunities, and we'll probably score, given how bad this Burnley back line has looked. But I'll probably go. I'll probably go with like a 1-1 result. Is kind of what I'm thinking here. So as we get into it here for cash games at DraftKings, I think the pretty obvious play is because of the questions with Burnley going into this. Maybe my thoughts will change after we see actually Burnley's lineup. Maybe it's going to be Brownhill as the only set piece taker on. Maybe, but maybe not. So I do think putting Brownhill as captain is a possibility if he starts. Again, this is just a shot in the dark here because he played 45 minutes off the bench. Maybe Brownhill doesn't start, but with that starting point, I think you can go Gibbs White captain. He'll probably be the most popular captain. And then just for the sake of this, we're assuming Brownhill starts. We're assuming that. Let's just say Brownhill's in. So Gibbs White, MGW, Brownhill in your lineup, and then you kind of build from there. I think you need a cheaper piece. I think Connor Roberts is down there, 5,400. I mean, you look at some of his numbers, and it's like, okay, he hasn't been very good, but I think for both these teams, you got to kind of take into account prior matchups, and when you're looking at floors. Nottingham Forest, they have at Arsenal, at Manchester United, at Chelsea, so like their floors aren't really that good, but even the Sheffield United match, I wouldn't even compare it to this one because Burnley is a team that actually likes to have possession. Sheffield United isn't really the same kind of team. And Sheffield United, I mean, they almost got a point from Nottingham Forest in that game. That was, exactly a month ago, I guess. So time's flying by. But who else can we build in this basic cash lineup? I don't think Ola Aina is required here. 8K. I'd rather get Sir Darie if he's healthy. I would rather get him in there. It's kind of hard to play these wing backs for Nottingham Forest because they are. I think everyone on Nottingham Forest is probably a little too expensive. So I'm kind of weary on actually deciding it's a must to play these wing backs here. Ola Aina, 8K is too much. That's too much, honestly. If we go into this projecting, okay, Burnley are going to have 55-60% possession, and you basically want the Nottingham Forest wingbacks to get up a bunch on counters and then get a 5 crosses kind of a thing. And that price point at 8K does seem like a lot. I'd rather go with like if they were 6,500, but I don't think neither one of them are musts in this situation. The question will be, will you want either goalkeeper? I think this could be a double goalkeeper slate. I already said, I kind of like the 1-1. The implied goal total is 2.55. It's pretty low. We can look at some of these Burnley results and, they've been ugly. They've been extremely ugly. But, I mean, okay, look at the prior match of these teams just played 2 weeks ago. I know it wasn't their A squads, but I think it has to be taken into account that neither team really got a ton going. Burnley had possession. Wasn't a ton of great opportunities, and they got a goal. I think it was in stoppage time. So we can go off the basis of that, and maybe just throw in Trafford, throw in Turner / Vlachodimos at goalkeeper. And I mean, it's an unexciting lineup. I guess it builds itself. Sorry, I just fell into the easiest cash lineup there is. This will probably be duped, but by how many people? I don't know. I don't know. So we got MGW captain, we got Brownhill, we got Roberts, we got Trafford, we got Vlachodimos, we got Serge Aurier. That's remaining salary is 0. So there's your cash lineup. In terms of where else you want to go, if you also want to play Ola Aina, if you're leaning on the wing backs and you're leaning on MGW kind of thing, and maybe you don't want to play Trafford, or maybe you don't want to play both the goalkeepers, where else do you want to go? Mm, we'll see. We'll see how Burnley line up. Dar O'Shea and Doc Hill can both play fullback. I don't really have a preference there, but they are cheap, and one of them is going to be playing fullback, so you can take that into account. If Montiel is actually starting over Aurier, he's going to be very popular if he's actually at a wingback spot. He's only 3,800, and he would actually be. I think he'd actually be a captain consideration here, just because how cheap he is. Then you can get that would be a lineup where you get MGW and you get Iwani in your team, and you're thinking a Nottingham Forest win or a 1-1 kind of result, kind of a thing. So that's what you can do if REA is not ready. In terms of other cheaper options, there's not really much. There's not. There's nothing, honestly. I mentioned Ryan Yates before, maybe mainly last season, but I don't know if he's gone 90s each of the last 2 matches. I'm not sure the 90s will be there given their new signings. I think Cooper's going to use 5 subs every match, so that's something to keep an eye on. And really, we're just looking through this list. There's not a ton of stuff you can do with this showdown. It's not the most exciting showdown of the week here. Before I get into tournaments here, I'll read some. Let me read some comments here. Fantastic news. I understand REA cannot start. I mean, if the rumor's been released that REA cannot start, then yeah, probably Montiel's in there. Pretty much what I just mentioned. Vlachodimos played 2 times for Greece. Okay, so Vlachodimos did play over the break. So I guess neither goalkeeper was with the team over the break. So we'll see. I think I saw, when was that rumor? It might have even been before the break that it was like Vlachodimos is probably going to win the job over Turner. So again, this isn't a massive thing here, but I guess the cash lineup I did just build. Vlachodimos is actually more expensive than Turner. So the funny thing is, DraftKings is also projecting that Vlachodimos starts over Turner. So you got that. All right, and then we're just talking about goalkeepers here in the chat, but for tournaments, you got to be different. You don't want to captain MGW, or you do want to captain him. I guess I shouldn't say you don't want to captain him. He will be most popular, so you got to find a way to be different. I think if you captain MGW, you kind of go crazy goals. You kind of go with a 1-1, 2-2 result, and then you throw in like a Koleosho, a Foster, M. Downey. Like, those guys aren't going to be overly popular because I don't know a ton about these guys, the matchups they've had, and they're all very young. They're all substitution risks. Maybe Koleosho has the best floor of them. He hasn't gone more than 70 minutes in a match. Foster maybe most likely to go 90. He's got a couple goals, so he has that for him. But none of these guys really stand out. So I think if you go MGW, I think you're fine with picking one of those guys for a goal, and then trying to find the goal and assist for Burnley, and then you got MGW and Iwani. It would be kind of hard to put together, yeah, but I'm sure you can figure it out. I'm not going to be doing the MGW route. I think that's just honestly too difficult here. If I'm thinking lower scoring, I don't think Trafford's going to be too popular as a captain here. Vlachodimos maybe a little more popular. Again, let's look at these clean sheet odds: 24% for Burnley, 32%. So not very high. So while the implied goal total is low, both teams are projected to score. So, I don't know. I guess it's just projected to be 1-1 here. I think you could play for the scoreless draw. Sunday, we had the low-scoring scoreless draw. We had the 1-0 result. So I think it's a pretty easy slate to go either goalkeeper here. In terms of something else, Iwani might be the second most popular captain. I'd say MGW, Awani's up there because just Burnley just don't have anyone who stands out. Usually, especially when Nottingham Forest are playing, usually there's going to be someone who stands out on the other team, but really no one on this Burnley team stands out from a DFS perspective, unless it's this exact lineup that we're getting here. But I'd say it's a 50% chance that Brownhill doesn't start. So if Brownhill starts and it's this situation here, I think Brownhill is the guy that you want from Burnley. Again, 45 minutes isn't play for him, so he's not a must by any means. No one is a must. If you want maybe the safest player to go 90 minutes, you're looking at Connor Roberts, you're looking at Josh Cullen. It's just not anything overly exciting. So that's kind of why this is a little more difficult, but you can find ways to get different than everyone else. You can find a center back goal, and it's like no one's going to be overly popular. So there's going to be a lot of weird lineups. There's probably going to be a weird lineup that wins. But before I go, I'm just going to put together, should we do a Vlachodimos captain or a Trafford captain? Let's do a Trafford captain. I think the Vlachodimos one is pretty obvious. You get Vlachodimos, you get MGW, you get Awani, and then you just fill in the pieces around it. Maybe you can fit Brownhill in. Maybe you can fit Aurier. Maybe one of the center backs. Maybe get Bowley. Bowley has been getting, out of the three center backs for Nottingham Forest, Bowley has been getting forward the most. I believe he already actually has a goal. Yeah, he did score against Manchester United. 5 shots in 4 games. So if you want Vlachodimos, I think Bowley is in there as an option as well. So that one's pretty obvious. Let's see what we can do with this Trafford captain. As long as I can find him, he's 75K. So Trafford captain, we're going to get MGW in for the set pieces. It's pretty clear. Who else do we want from Burnley? It's so difficult because, again, 50% chance Brownhill does not start. But let's just say Brownhill starts. We'll plug him in. So we get the assist. We get the set pieces. I do think Burnley are going to have, as long as they don't score first in the first half, I do think Burnley will have more corners in this match. So we're looking at Foster. We're looking at M. Downey. There is a chance as a Row restarts. I doubt it, but there is a chance, and he's a little cheaper. He is the player who came off the bench in the opener against Man City and got a red card. So there's that. Koleosho is actually cheaper than Josh Cullen. So I mentioned the thing about Josh Cullen earlier, but just a defensive midfielder with minimal upside. So he's not really in the tournament playbook for me here. So, okay. Going through the options. Okay. Let's try M. Downey. He's a little more expensive. He hasn't scored yet. Minutes are far from guaranteed, but he is, I guess Foster's a little more expensive. I think people will go, more people, as long as they can fit him in, I think they'll go to Foster because Foster has the goals. M. Downey does not have the goals. But let's try and go in M. Downey, and you can be a little bit different there. You could even try and get Koleosho in this lineup. Why is Will? I made that Bowley comment earlier. I thought he was going to be 4K, but he is 6,200, which is wild. Okay, Bowley is 6,200. That is somewhat surprising. You actually only need one of these guys. Let's get Connor Roberts. Really, you can do kind of whatever you want. Maybe MGW is your only Nottingham Forest player. Maybe this is a 1-0 build. You could even get 2-1 here and get a win with Burnley, get 3 saves with Trafford kind of thing. I don't think it would be impossible for you to actually win because you could still get both Foster, Koleosho, maybe both of them score something. Not many people are going to have both Foster and Koleosho or both, or, two of 3 between Koleosho, Foster, and M. Downey. So there you go. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do. As I said, play whoever you want from Burnley. No one really stands out for me. Brownhill's going to have set pieces if he starts. If Ramsey starts, we could see Josh Cullen on set pieces. We look at the free kick taker tracker. If Gudmundsson starts, he's in play for 45 minutes, but he'll take some set pieces. I guess Zarauri, if he starts, he'll be on set pieces. Again, we just don't know. There's so many things we don't know about Burnley's lineup. And then we have the injury questions with Nottingham Forest. But that's all I got. We got 20 minutes until Champions League preview. So check that out. Let me read some more comments before I take off. Yeah, okay. If you are captaining goalkeeper, would you generally want two defenders with him for the bonuses? Yeah, I mean, it depends how you look at your lineup. My usual strategy is get a goalkeeper and then get the wing backs or get the fullbacks kind of a thing. Usually it works out like that. I over the weekend it was the Bournemouth Chelsea match. I had Neto. I had if I'm saying actually sorry, it was the Newcastle match. I had Bruno and Elliot Anderson instead of Dan Burn and Fabian Scar, and it was a mistake. That was a spot. Newcastle won 1-0, and I should have had both defenders in there because I did play Nick Pope. I should have both defenders there. Both of them got near 10 points, and then Bruno, I think Elliot Anderson, one of them got a yellow card late, and I probably could have added 10 more points to my score. So usually, if you captain goalkeeper, you're gonna want you can get the extra bonuses. Um, Especially in a game like this because there's not going to be many floor points elsewhere. So it's like, okay, you get so for Trafford, you get both fullbacks kind of a thing instead of because who else are you going to play? You're basically trying to if you play Koleosho and Foster, it's like, what are you expecting from them? Because you basically need a goal and assist from those guys in this spot, because you're at risk of 60 minutes, no floor from both guys. So I think it is safer, especially in a game like this where there just isn't massive floors in many of the spots outside the set piece takers. So there's that. I already talked about the Burnley set pieces. Sangare, a promising acquisition from PSV. Yeah, I mean, any of these guys could start. I don't think Origi is actually gonna play as an attacking midfielder, but I mean, it could be. We could see Origi start. I would say Hudson-Odoi has the leg up there, but if Origi started, it would be a 3-4-1-2 with Awani and Origi. But I don't think they play like that. Never know, but I don't think that both Awani and Origi start. Could be wrong, but yes, thank you, Keith. All right, I'm out of here. We got Champions League coming up in a little bit. Thank you for watching this rotowire.com/soccer trial. Check out all the Champions League stuff. Good luck on the showdown. You can find me on X at Roto Zdroik and then Roto Wire Soccer as well. See you, everyone, in a little bit.